Desert Bearhawk fans, it's nearly midnight on Sunday the 23rd, 24th February. I posted some pictures earlier of what I completed today, and really only worked on it for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Been doing some remodeling in the house, so time is tight, gotta work when I can. But what I did today is I made these tubes here. You can see they're about 18 inches long, and they're longer than they need to be. And these are 3/8 or number 6 tubing, and they're the main fuel supply coming out of the tank. So there's 2 pickups in the tank, one in the front of the tank, one at the rear, and I'll shoot video of that. You'll see that later on. And in each one of those pickups goes one of these finger screens. This threads right into the tank here, and then this finger screen keeps any large particles from getting into the fuel system. And then these AN fittings, right here you can see one, they thread into this tank fitting. So this will be in the tank, this will be threaded into this. These two will be pretty much, once they're home, they're going to be pretty much permanently there. There will be no reason really to remove these unless I unless I need to take these fittings out to inspect for debris, which would be maybe on every annual, although it's kind of a raging pain in the butt to get the tank out. But whatever service interval I decide, that's when these will come out. Otherwise, these will be in permanently. And then the tubing itself attaches with the B-nut right onto this AN fitting. So if you look here, you can see that what I had to do, let's try holding an iPhone here and shooting video. What I had to do was I had to flare the end of this tube. Hopefully it'll focus. And you can see there's a little flare on there, a little bell mouth. And this is aircraft, so it is 37 degrees. And you can see there's a, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the angle on that cone, 37 degrees. And it's a mechanical seal, metal to metal, in this case aluminum to aluminum. And this B-nut here, it seats up against this ferrule right there. You can barely see it, that little flat right there. It secures up against it and holds the flared piece of the tube to the 37 degree fitting, AN fitting. And you can see this one's assembled. And of course, once these are run down finger tight, then there's a torque value that you put on this to torque this B-nut. In A&P school, I remember guys saying, finger tight +1 flat. I guess is a rule of thumb. I don't know how accurate it is, but I'm actually going to get an AN crow's foot. It's a crow's foot, but it's got it's thicker, so it doesn't put so much strain in a narrow area. And then I will take my torque wrench and actually torque these just for giggles. But this is basically it. This threads into the tank, this threads into the finger strainer, and then these are my 2 supply tubes that go out of the wing root and eventually tie into the fuel system of the airplane. So I had to make 4 of these, and then I also made 4, and you saw in the previous pictures, 4 smaller tubes. They're 1/4-inch tubes, and they go, one sits at the forward bottom of the tank, or actually that's inaccurate, sits at the forward top of the tank, and then another pickup at the rear bottom of the tank. And you basically run a clear plastic tube between those 2 pickup points, and you can see your fuel level because fuel always finds its own level. So I'm going to use a visual sight gauge for my fuel system. I'm not going to use senders in the tank, a capacitance system, or a float system. This is a very simple, accurate way of determining how much fuel's in your tank. And then, of course, on the supply side, I will run a fuel flow sensor. The new fuel flow sensors they have available now for Garmin and a lot of the experimental avionics are super accurate, down to just well within the margin of error. So some good old math when I'm flying, knowing what my fuel burn is per hour, knowing what I put in my tanks to begin with, and watching that fuel flow meter. I should never find myself in a situation where I'm surprised by being run out of fuel. I may run it out of fuel, but I won't have any excuses as to why I did it. Anyhow, that was the project for this weekend. I wanted to get more done, but I'm doing a remodel in one of the rooms in this house. And I hate carpentry work with an absolute passion, especially drywall and painting. So that was basically the whole weekend. I snuck in an hour flight today over at North Vegas. And now a couple hours, an hour and a half, and made these tubes. So that's where we are. That's the update. Long, boring video, but if you stuck with it, thanks. And we'll see you next time in the shop.